Warning, this content is only for the official Discord. Welcome to Patch Notice. I'm your host, Jackie. You might know me from my Counter-Strike Patch Notice videos, but from now on, I'll be expanding into Deadlock. Hero Changes. Up first and foremost then, let's have a look at what's changed to the heroes in the 4th of July update for Deadlock. Starting off with Abrams, Seismic Impact at tier 3 now gains 100 extra max HP and 15% fire rate per enemy hero you hit for 25 seconds. Everyone's favourite junk golem Bebop has undergone a slight nerf to his HP regen. Base HP regen has been reduced from 2 to 1, but he's been majorly buffed with 10 extra meters being added to his Hyper Beam cast range, making him go full Gyarados. Meanwhile, Talon has received a buff to his ultimate, making it so it now grants +4 permanent spirit power for every hero that is killed by it. On top of that, Valve have fixed an issue where Charge Shot would not pierce if it collided with a mini turret. Meanwhile, for Haze, rank 1 of her Sleep Dagger will no longer increase its duration by an extra second, it will instead remove 1 stamina. Smoke Bomb has also undergone quite a few changes, as you can see on screen here, with Lifesteal now being at 30% for tier 3. For everyone's favourite smoker, Infernus, Flame Dash DPS has been increased from 0.4 seconds to 1 second. That's going to be the dot effect that's left on the floor after he uses his sprint, meaning you have slightly longer to deal damage to troopers or unsuspecting heroes. Ivy Main's Rejoice, Watcher's Covenant has received the buff that will now allow you to select who you want to target even after casting it on someone. As for the big snowman, Kelvin, at tier 3 his ice path will now linger for an additional 6 seconds, giving you some extra time to rotate and quickly get your teammates out of dodge. Frost grenades will now land where they're indicated to be even if you quickly move, meaning dashing or jumping. Everyone's favourite arsehole, Jacob Lash, has had his Death Slam increased by 0.1 second to lock on. Here you can see McGinnis in her natural habitat, split pushing, playing the objective. Her mini turrets have undergone quite a few changes in the 4th of July update, reducing the cooldown very slightly and some damage reduction changes. While Burrowed Mo and Krill will now have the same casting rules applied as when unburrowed, i.e. he can cast items and use Scorn. He's also had his base HP per boon reduced very slightly. Here's a shocker for you. No, literally. Static Charge has been updated on 7 so that it now has Spirit scaling, meaning that it will increase by 0.1 with Spirit. So be prepared for longer range stuns. Meanwhile, for Vindicta, her flight cooldown has been reduced from 50 seconds to 45 seconds. I guess she isn't with Ryanair. The up and down speed is also slightly improved. Warden's Binding Word will now drain 1 stamina from the target on cast, making attempted getaways slightly more awkward. For Wraith, Project Mind at tier 3 now has a reduced cooldown by 5 seconds, down from 35 to 30. Item Changes. There's been quite a few major item overhauls inside of the 4th of July update, and this is one of them. Reactive Barrier will now proc on displacement abilities, meaning hooks, paradoxical sweep, and uppercut. It could be really effective now. Decay also now seems to be a viable replacement for toxic bullets on your tank. Improved Burst no longer applies a 50% slow, however it does grant you 100% spirit shield and 12% weapon damage. Quicksilver Reload has been massively nerfed, its recharge time is up from 5 seconds to 12. Diviner's Kevlar looks to have received a gigantic buff, increasing its buff duration from 10 seconds to 12 and granting you a 700 health spirit shield and bullet resist shield. Medic bullets have been renamed, so don't panic if you can't find them. They're now called Restorative Shot. Pour one out for my fellow Wraith mains out there, as Intensifying Magazine will no longer grant you 30% increased ammo, it'll instead be 25. And Lucky Shot? I wouldn't say it's so lucky anymore. It no longer provides you with that massive increase in weapon damage, as there is no 20% buff. Map Changes. It feels like the streets have undergone a huge amount of changes in the 4th of July update. As you can see on screen here, the warehouse geometry has been changed drastically. There's new stairways and connecting pathways for the inner lanes. The doorways with mob farms have been offset, so it's harder to see people inside or catch them. You've also got new teleport rooms on either side of the map, near the church and the police station, giving you 2 quick ways to TP away in a hurry. They've also moved the Guardian cover in the inner lanes to be more central and provide protection if you're looking for a quick getaway mid-fight, alongside a lot of small details. So get out there and get looking around what they've done.
Guardians and Shrines.
For me, this is probably the biggest 2 changes inside of the patch. Base Guardians and Shrines now have a 40% bullet resistance, and they lose 20% for each enemy hero that's nearby, down to a minimum of 0. But when they don't take damage for 60 seconds, they begin regenerating 4% of their max HP per second. Troopers have had a reduction of 25% to their damage when attacking another trooper, and their spawn rates are now consistent throughout the entire game. Let's talk about boxes then. Breakables no longer come pre-placed on the map, and instead will spawn in at the 3-minute mark when they begin rolling for drops. They also now use pseudo-random rolls, making streaks of success or failure less likely. Golden statues now have dynamic weighting on them based on what was already dropped, and after the 25-minute mark, their drops will be slightly stronger. Bullet fall-off is now 25 meters.
General changes.
Valve have added 2 new server regions in both Asia and South America, expanding the player pool for Deadlock. They also added the damage report feature that'll show off incoming and outgoing damage. This is really cool. Play around with this next time you go to the shop when you're in lane. It will show you stats based on damage you've dealt or received from other players. It will give you a breakdown that you can change from 30 seconds, a minute, or since your last respawn, and visually see how you're dealing or taking damage. There was also some HUD changes in the update. Some people seem to like it, some people not so much, but the top bar of the UI has been overhauled, reworked for visibility and to attempt to make it a bit smaller. There was also changes to replays. You now have a free cursor mode when pressing the J key as a default bind. Minimap was also upgraded with a few new features. When someone perishes, you'll see an X where they died for 5 seconds and can see both the spawn and delivery location for the soul urn. Default item guides have been made simpler and easier to understand for newer players so that they can get a better experience when getting to grips with Deadlock. Always playing with friends? Well, don't worry. Deadlock will now prioritize putting people that have been queued together in the same lane, so you can happily feed together. There was also some tweaks made to collecting soul sound effects. Denying or confirming a soul will have the same universal sound effect, however being denied a soul by an opponent now has a unique sound. The effect of all of your cooldowns rapidly resetting, on and off, has now been fixed when collecting a soul urn. A bug with Spectral Wall for McGinnis where it wouldn't spawn if map geometry was awkward has now been resolved. You can happily throw out your Spectral Walls wherever you want. A problem with bullets clipping through 2 mobs and dealing damage to both of them when they were close together has been fixed. The Rejuvenator has been given some new sound effects. Have a listen. The Duke closets around the map have been given a bit of a visual overhaul. There's now ghostly spirits that will indicate where the dead ends are. They're all quite unique and they have red signs above the entryways, giving you even more of a reason to not want to go into these ghastly doorways. There's been some more sound effect changes. Here's what the changes to Wraith sound like.
Miscellaneous changes.
Firstly, let's talk about the soul urn, as it's had quite a lot of changes. We're back to just having one of them on the map with its original soul count, not 2 of them anymore. That is the new drop-off location. You get bonus souls for delivering the soul urn now, incentivizing you to do it. Because it spawns so far away from the lunar location though, the movement slow has been removed and the pickup time has been reduced, meaning that sprinting from one side to the other isn't as bad.
Power-up changes.
Lastly, let's talk about power-ups then, as Valve have completely reworked how they operate. There's no longer 6 locations, instead only 2 on opposite ends of the map, and the different power-up types have been overhauled. They've gone down from 6 to just 4, being gun, survival, casting, and movement. Alongside that, they've also increased the effectiveness of all of these power-ups. But that is it for your patch notice. I've been your host, Jackie Esports. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the first of many, so please subscribe and let me know what you think on the Discord.